My eyeshadow looks like so crazy pigmented. Oh my gosh. So hey guys, and my hair looks like really crazy right now. I was out in the rain and stuff, so just ignore that. So basically I've been having this secret project that I've been working on for like the past 2 weeks, and I finally got all of the materials for it and I'm really excited. So I'm going to be building a bioactive terrarium for my crested gecko Sketchy. He's gonna be 6 soon and I just feel like he deserves something really special and cool. So I'm gonna do that for him. Okay, so what I'm going to start out doing is I'm just going to take a 20-gallon aquarium and we are actually going to convert it into a vivarium that can stand vertically. So I started by cleaning it out with rubbing alcohol, and now I'm going with a caulking gun to put some silicone. Just make sure it's 100% silicone and that it can withhold any water that will be built up in the tank. And this is actually going to be a 2-part series, so this is the first part of me converting the aquarium, and then the next part of the series is everything else. And everything that could go wrong with this project really did go wrong. So first off, the silicone that I am using is currently this clear silicone that I found in my garage, but it actually turned out to be like super expired, so read your labels of things you find in your garage before using them. So I ended up actually having to wipe away all of this silicone and redoing it, but I don't think I filmed myself redoing it. But anyway, you're just going to line the bottom of the tank and cover where the aquarium is not used to holding water. So this is just me cleaning up that silicone after I redid it with some white silicone. It kind of got everywhere because it was my first time using it. And so I'm just cleaning it up, making it look really pretty. And if you guys want a more in-depth video that's going to give you a step-by-step guide, I'm actually following a tutorial throughout this entire video. And so I will link that tutorial down below. Definitely check it out. Give credit to Serpa Design, that is the name of the channel, who originally created this tutorial. And so now we're going to be taking these pieces of polycarbonate, and I had them cut to size at the store, so I had it cut into one large piece, and then I cut that piece so there were 2 pieces that were 6 inches long. And so one of the 6-inch piece is going to be the base where all of the false bottom and substrate is, and then the other part will be where ventilation holes are. So we're going to silicone those down in place by running a bead of silicone along the bottom. Then I'm going to take the polycarbonate and press it down, and then I'm going to run a bead of silicone along the top, and I'm just going to repeat that with the other piece of polycarbonate as well. You could use acrylic. Polycarbonate isn't going to warp over time though, and it is stronger than acrylic. You can actually see me watching the tutorial in parts of the video, and I think it's a little bit funny. So if you make any mess ups, instead of wiping it away with a paper towel, I would recommend actually just letting the silicone dry and then scraping it off once it's dried. I found it to be a little bit easier, unless if it's just a really small bit. Otherwise you're just going to smear it if it's a huge glob, and it's going to be even harder to get off. I actually had to take this piece of polycarbonate to Lowe's to get cut like 3 different times because I kept measuring wrong and forgetting about, like, I didn't account for the frame, and it was a very frustrating experience. I also, when I went to pick up silicone, my dad didn't realize that silicone came in different colors. I thought it did, but I wasn't really paying attention, and so we ended up with white silicone without paying attention. I wanted black, but that's okay. Next, this is the most tedious thing that I've ever done in my life. I did this in any spare time that I had between school and work, literally drilling all of these ventilation holes. I printed off a guide from online and taped it down, and then I just used that to drill. So here is that lovely compilation of drilling, me being weird with the drill because I'm not used to holding power tools and I thought it was some pretty cool stuff. This took me like forever. I want to say almost a month of just drilling is what it really felt like. So many holes. So obviously I did not film all of the drilling because that was just torture. And after a certain point, the acrylic was bowing a little bit from the pressure of the drill, so I would actually recommend drilling these holes before you attach the polycarbonate or acrylic to the tank, so that way you can have it up against a flat surface and you can drill into the surface, and it's just an overall nicer experience. And then finally, after 5,000 years of drilling, we can remove this piece and see how beautiful our holes look. The only thing I dislike with this design is it ended up actually covering up a lot of the scenery of the tank, and so I do not like having 6 inches for ventilation. I don't think it was necessary. So now I'm just going to be measuring out and plotting where I'm going to put my hinges. This is going to create a door for the aquarium, or now terrarium. I'm just using a Sharpie to mark these holes and make sure that they're lined up and everything will work well. And definitely always triple check your measurements, guys. I can't stress how important it is. And it took me a moment to figure out what drill bit would work best for these holes, because I drilled into wood to see what the screws would fit in, but you have to keep in mind, if you're going to do that, which I definitely recommend, the polycarbonate is a stiffer material than wood, so the screws will go into the wood easier than the polycarbonate or acrylic. So definitely you'll probably have to experiment a little bit with the size of the holes, and I would just keep moving up until I found the perfect one, so that way I didn't accidentally, go too high and then the screw just falls right through the hole. And this is why I was recommending before, is this way you can drill straight through like a piece of wood, so that way you don't have to worry about bowing and cracking your acrylic. And I did this for the actual door piece because it wasn't attached to anything, and it was a very fine experience. Now we are going to be measuring and figuring out where we're going to put our hook and staple. This will just create a nice little latch on the tank, so that way you can open it and the lizard can't just push the door open and run around. But while doing this project, I had to take so many breaks because I didn't have the correct drill bit sizes, and just everything that could go wrong went wrong. But seeing it in an 11-minute video like this is so much easier, and it makes it look so simple. Notice also that I left the cover on over the door for this part, because this acrylic does scratch really easily, and so I wanted to prevent as many scratches as possible. So I just left that on, and then I'll take it off at the very end to ensure that we have a nice beautiful view of everything in the tank. So there, create a nice door. Some nice close-ups of our beautiful tank and all of the hard work. It definitely feels good though to be able to look at something and say, I made that. It definitely took a lot of hard work. I also had to spray paint those hinges in the hook and staple because they were originally gold. And I ended up covering up the screw heads with a Sharpie marker, so that way I can still unscrew them when needed versus if I had painted them.
So this is actually a tank that I built for my other crested gecko, Clyde. This is my second attempt, so I shortened that piece for ventilation from 6 inches to 3 inches, and I kept the other part 6 inches. And other than that, I just drilled the holes before attaching them to this tank. This process was definitely way easier. I got the correct cuts on the first try, and it was overall a better experience that I was able to complete in one night versus like 500 days. And that will be it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for part 2.